Substance use is a topic that's often surrounded by a lot of myths and just plain misunderstanding. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to take a clear, science-based look at what's really happening inside the body and the mind based on what we know from the latest clinical research.
Okay, so first things first, let's get our terms straight. This is really important. Throughout this, you're going to hear me use the term substance use disorder, or SUD for short. Now, this isn't just jargon. It's the official clinical term, and using it helps us move away from stigmatizing language and really see this for what it is, a medical condition.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, we're focusing on what are called psychoactive drugs. In simple terms, these are chemical compounds that get into your brain and directly affect its chemistry. They can change how you feel, how you think, and even how you perceive the world around you. So let's really unpack what that means for a person's health.
All right, so where do we start to see the effects? Let's begin with the body, with the physical toll, because it can be a real cascade of effects, some that happen right away and others that build up silently over time.
Think about those immediate things someone might feel, right? A racing heart, maybe some dizziness or nausea. Well, those are really just the tip of the iceberg. The real danger is how, with continued use, all these small changes start to compound. They stack up, leading to some profound and sometimes even irreversible damage to the body's most important systems.
And you can see here how different substances almost have their own unique signature of harm. With alcohol, that immediate feeling of poor coordination can, over years, escalate into chronic liver disease or heart disease. With methamphetamines, a short-term spike in your heart rate can eventually lead to severe dental problems. Each substance takes its own distinct toll on the body.
But the physical stuff is only half the story. By their very definition, psychoactive drugs target the brain. So let's shift gears and look at how SUD can fundamentally alter a person's mind, their behavior, and their ability to think.
And the pattern here can be so deceptive. A substance might give a temporary feeling of euphoria or calm, but underneath the surface, with prolonged use, it can actually start to rewire the brain's physical structure. And this isn't temporary. We're talking about changes that can create lasting problems with memory, learning, and concentration. Problems that can stick around long after a person has stopped using.
And again, these mental effects are very specific to the drug. For instance, we know that frequent cannabis use during the teen years is linked to a higher risk of psychosis for some people later in life. Methamphetamine use can spiral from wakefulness into serious paranoia and hallucinations. And even nicotine can have a major long-term impact, especially on a developing teenage brain, where it can literally disrupt the circuits for attention and learning. Okay, so we've seen the effects, but this all leads to a huge question. What's the actual line that separates just using a substance from having a diagnosable substance use disorder? It's really not as simple as how much or how often someone uses. The answer, and this is key, isn't about a specific number of drinks or a certain frequency. It's not a numbers game. Instead, clinicians are looking for a very specific set of behavioral patterns that really point to a loss of control and show a clear negative impact on a person's life.
So this is what they're actually looking for. They ask questions like, has tolerance developed? Meaning, do they need more and more to get the same effect? Do they experience withdrawal if they stop? Are they trying to cut down or quit but just can't? And maybe most importantly, are they continuing to use despite the fact that it's causing obvious problems at work, at home, or with their health? And are they giving up activities they used to care about? It's this whole cluster of behaviors that signals a disorder.
And make no mistake, the stakes here are incredibly high. To put the real-world consequences into perspective, since 1999, more than 760,000 people in the United States have died from an opioid overdose. This isn't just an abstract issue. It is a devastating public health crisis with a massive human cost.
But in the face of a statistic that heavy, it is absolutely vital to talk about hope. The science on this is crystal clear. While substance use disorder is a complex disease, it is also a treatable one. Recovery is always possible.
And the key to recovery is knowing that there is no magic bullet. There is no one-size-fits-all cure. It has to be a personalized journey. Any effective treatment needs to be tailored to the individual, addressing not just the substance use, but all of their mental and physical health needs as a whole person. This means building a really comprehensive support system. We're talking about medications that can help manage cravings, behavioral counseling to develop new coping strategies, and group therapy for that crucial peer support.
It's about so much more than just stopping use. It's about healing the whole person and helping them rebuild their life.
And that brings us to our final thought. Now that we know the science, that this is a medical condition, not a moral failing, how can we better support those on the path to recovery? Honestly, that understanding is the most critical first step any of us can take. Because with that knowledge, we can start to dismantle stigma, we can encourage empathy, and we can build a society that truly supports everyone on that difficult but always hopeful path. Thanks for joining me.